Interview, director Julien Faraut in his documentary Witches of the Orient. Back in the late 50s, young female textile workers at Osaka became a volleyball team so good that they had a winning streak of 258 games and took the gold of the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. The foreign press gave them the pejorative title Witches of the Orient, but in Japan they were praised for their skills and multiple anime and manga were inspired by them. French filmmaker Julien Faraut has come out with a documentary about them, speaking to the women themselves and taking back the media's nickname by putting it up front and center as a movie's titled Witches of the Orient. Otaku USA spoke to Faraut about the documentary, what he learned from it, and what he hopes viewers will take away while watching. When you are a fan of Attack Number 1 anime, how do you learn that it was based on a true story? No, I wasn't. I was very familiar with Attacker U, which was really popular in France in the late 80s. The footage of the witches was so close to the anime that it naturally rang a bell. I found out shortly afterwards that Chicago Orano, the author of the manga and anime in Attack Number 1, was indeed inspired by the success and the popularity of the witches. All the follow manga, anime, and drama such as Attacker U follow the same path up and up than Attack Number 1. Of the many sports stories out there, why do you choose to cover this one? I came across a story of the witches' drunk footage. I'm in charge of the film collection owned by a French sport institute, INSEP, in Paris. A retired French volleyball trainer came to me with two 16mm maybe 15 years ago. One was an instructional Japanese film in volleyball. The other was an episode of Attack Number 1. With the first film, I discovered the training session of the witches and was very impressed by the intensity of the drills. The footage was also very much like the anime Attacker U. I remember, I started to learn more and more about this story and I fell in love with it. How do you reach the woman and get them involved in the documentary? It took us a year to get in touch. We finally succeeded with the help of someone involved in the organization of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. I decided to work with a famous French interpreter named Catherine Cadeau, who used to live in Japan for many years and has the same age as several witches. Catherine knows perfectly how to be polite and persuasive with the Japanese audience. She became a real friend with some of the players. What do you learn while making the Witches of the Orient? Many things. Learning things is one of the main reasons who love to make films. I learned that Westerners still have trouble understanding Japan. Moderation was, and maybe still is, expected from women who are not allowed to do anything with excess, like men could do. What would you like viewers to take away from it? I really enjoyed the making of the film, so I hope the viewers will enjoy the vision of it as well. The show offers a pleasing moment of cinema. I feel also very inspired by the players. The strong will, physical and mental strength is really energizing and inspiring in a more ordinary life. Where can people find your other work? In the Realm of Perfection was distributed by Oscilloscope in the US, so it's still available on VOD, DVD, and Blu-ray. The Period Squad, a new look at Olympia 52, should be found in the web on DVD and the French version with English subtitles.